fit, formidable, and fantastic.
Hey everyone, it's Cory McCarthy and welcome to a new episode. This is a video that I feel needs to be done and something all men need to hear and consider. Women should also take note as well, specifically those women with men in their lives. But one word of warning, this video may offend some members associated with certain social groups, beliefs, or philosophies, notably natural purists, the appeal to nature types, as well as extreme feminists and purveyors of fat acceptance. Yes, I have decided to eventually take testosterone. But let me explain why. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Biologically speaking,
after the age of 30, male testosterone levels plummet by 1% per year. And statistically, 1 in 4 men over the age of 30 suffer from low testosterone, while 1 in 20 actually exhibit the clinical symptoms accompanying this deficiency. Moreover, based on these study results, researchers estimate that by 2025, 6.5 million Americans between 30 and 79 will suffer from this deficiency, a 38% increase from the year 2000. The healthy range for testosterone is considered to be 270 to 1070 nanograms per deciliter, with an average level of 679 nanograms per deciliter. While the FDA, per a 2007 review, defines anyone with 300 nanograms per deciliter or below as suffering hypogonadism, also known as low testosterone.
Let's say you fall into the average levels of 679 in your late 20s. By 30, you could conceivably drop nearly 7 nanograms per deciliter, and that loss would incrementally and annually decrease relative to your base levels from there on out. Furthermore, this loss would be amplified by weight, genetics, health, poor choices, and other issues that affect testosterone directly or indirectly. For example,
higher levels of abdominal fat are linked to low testosterone levels, especially with age.
But imagine for a moment if you fall into the low end of healthy range. This 1% decline alone could have a more immediate deleterious impact on your life. And shit's working against you more than you may realize.
Research shows that in the past 2 decades, men are essentially becoming increasingly less manly, thanks to an apparent generational decline in testosterone levels.
And that statement was released by the Endocrine Society in 2006, almost 10 years ago. So add another decade of generational decline for where we are now. 3 decades ago, men had higher average testosterone levels than they did 1 decade ago, approximately 16% disparity. To put that in perspective, based on average age decline, that generational difference is akin to a steady drop of 1% per year from age 30 until 46. The researchers are not clear on the reasons for this decline, but they have elaborated that neither aging nor changes in certain health factors, such as obesity or smoking, can completely explain the phenomenon. I personally theorize this is in part caused by environmental pollutants and toxins in the products and the foods that we consume.
Like those containing xenoestrogens, which are sex hormone-disrupting compounds.
Perhaps even increases in stress levels among men today.
Which is in line with the research. For instance, men had experienced a 24% increase in stress in 2009 versus 1983. And stress raises cortisol levels, and cortisol suppresses testosterone.
Basically, men today face an ever-increasing multi-pronged onslaught on our hormones and what makes us men. But not just what makes us men, but even our fucking health. Low testosterone levels can even be responsible for
decreased sex drive, erectile dysfunction, infertility, increased body fat, decreased strength and muscle, fragile bones, decreased body hair, increased fatigue, poor cholesterol metabolism, insomnia, sleep apnea, depression, and a decreased sense of well-being.
Doesn't sound too appealing, eh?
But it gets uglier. Based on another study over a 4-year period, men with low testosterone over the age of 40 had a higher risk of death.
However, the researchers were not able to ascertain precisely why low T levels correlated with death, but despite various experiment controls, this grim outcome kept surfacing. But now some clarification is required.
Age alone is not solely responsible for decreased testosterone, but rather a powerhouse combination of age and poor health.
This is why I push so hard for people to live fit and therefore fantastic. Maintaining proper diet, avoiding smoking, alcohol, and other poor habits. Getting ample sleep and regular exercise, both cardio and resistance training, thus leading to increases in strength, muscle tissue, and bone density, as well as decreases in fat storage, etc. This can go a long way toward naturally improving your health and quality of life. So fuck dad bods, mom bods, fat acceptance, or rather fat complacency as I'd like to call it, and any other media trend or political correctness meant to glamorize poor fucking choices, lifestyles, and subsequent decline in health statuses. Yes, aging is still an uphill battle no matter what. You can do your very best to fight the effects, but ultimately we all lose. And all of us inevitably take a dirt nap in the end, but why not get the most from our lives while we are here? Thus, as I age, I have decided that if my testosterone levels warrant it, medically, I will opt in for testosterone replacement therapy, aka TRT, which means essentially I will start injecting a steroid hormone as prescribed by a doctor for the betterment of my health and the quality of my life. There are people who would criticize me for this, but fuck them. I mean, why should I let the quality of my life suffer? Why should I experience reduced pleasure and results from my passions? Why not restore my testosterone levels to healthy range if they begin to decline below? To clarify, I'm not planning to take them for recreational use. It is a purely medical reasoning behind my decision, and it is all just a plan for the future as I currently do not require TRT. Thus, I have no plans to take drugs to get superhuman big or freakishly ripped. I have no plans to increase my testosterone beyond normal healthy range, and furthermore, no reputable doctor would even agree to that. This is something I've decided on for my own life and something I wanted to share with all of you.
Especially since approximately 90% of my viewers are males, and the majority fall between the ages of 25 to 34, followed closely by 18 to 24. And even men under the age of 30 can suffer from low testosterone values, so even my younger viewers should pay heed, as activities like smoking or conditions such as obesity or depression and even medications can adversely affect hormone levels.
I think all men should know what they're up against, as it seems no one is fucking publicly informing us about this matter, which may be in part due to specific social motives, which can have a psychological effect and subsequent health impact. The mind is a very powerful thing.
An example of a social motive could be the rise of feminism, and terms such as testosterone poisoning being used to criticize men, a term that was originally quoted in the 1985 book A Feminist Dictionary.
Now, I'm not saying all feminists make this criticism, but some, perhaps even many, do. Certainly the extremes or the radicals among that group. And I've unfortunately met some of these extremist nutjobs. I was even targeted by one in my Facebook group for simply posting progress photos on a Flex Friday.
Which is ironic because based on one study published in 2014 in the journal Frontiers in Psychology, females who identified as feminists had more exposure to prenatal testosterone and as such were more masculinized than the general female samples and even the male comparison samples.
Anyhow, pardon that slight aside from topic, but all men should give everything they're up against, even potentially, careful consideration. And women, for the men in your lives that you care about, I hope this has educated you and you support them in whatever decision they decide to make for their well-beings. And before anyone asks, injectable steroid hormones are generally synthetically derived in laboratories, thus do not contain animal-derived ingredients. This is why some vegan athletes utilize them to compete, and they still qualify as vegan. Anyhow, that is all I can think of saying on this subject. I do hope that it has been educational, and I welcome dialogue in the comments section, of course, as always, and even criticisms. And if you like the content that I provide, please like and share my videos, as well as subscribe to my channel. I'd also like to take this moment to announce my new Amazon affiliates link, which I will post in the video description below. If you enjoy the content that I supply on this channel and you happen to need something that Amazon provides, which is a whole hell of a lot actually, You could show your support by using my Amazon affiliates link to hop over to Amazon when making any purchases. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Until next time, my friends.